still waking up and all that, but let's see here. So, I was wanting to get back on track from last week since we didn't really have a lot of time to cover everything because hirelings took up so much time. Hirelings are, still in review, if I recall correctly. Um, so, I think for this, since a lot of things has been updated since, I was just yeah, okay. There's I'm still fucking booting up. There's a good number of tasks that should be done. And on my end, I'm still working on the structures document, still working on the EQG, all that good stuff. Structure document is taking a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that is often the case. I think for right now, in terms of creation stuff and getting things on track, if I get some people here who can help me work on the economy side of things, again, I know economy has been a land of sadness. I think that would be good. Big thing is gathering up numbers, looking at data, and seeing what a good percentage should be for items. Right now, I'm assuming I'm going to put it back to 300%. So kind of looking at shopping and where those stand, and looking at people's percentages, and kind of like gathering data on players' wealth at the moment, as well as theory crafting what the new PAP outputs will be, because that's going to heavily depend on if 300% is still a good number.
And then do you want looks at like how much gold can be made through harvesting and such using those 300?
Yes.
Kind of like a precursor. I didn't hear at all what Templar said, so I don't want to say something you might have already said.
It's harvesting.
Yeah.
Harvesting. Yeah.
Harvesting for those values. Yes.
On the economy side of like pure speculation, just like what I like passively observe every time I look at one of my player sheets for one of my games. You have. I will absolutely set aside like all staff members who get ticks that can contribute to their finances.
Yeah.
That set aside, you don't really see too many people using their downtime days to shop or sell things overall. You do here and there for like very specific things, like, oh, I have a mission I'm going on where I need to buy some specific stuff, or I know it's going to be really, really tough and we suddenly need a boatload of resources.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, you're like the best example. We're like, okay, this is bad. We need to really get like geared up and ready for it. But generally, what I see is like crafters will try to use downtime days to go and buy things, and it's not so much a matter of cost for them as it is a matter of like days. The days are more valuable than the money spent, in my opinion. There are like some odd ones out where you have somebody who is taking advantage of how much money you can make from certain activities, like the post. So, like as an example, farming, which Templar is working on right now. You can make an absolutely absurd amount of money harvesting like saffron and like a couple other things. And then turn that around for a profit. And really the margin that you make between being like a merchant and not a merchant kind of doesn't matter on that, because it's just so much money overall.
Yeah.
You get quite a bit from it. I know people worked on like changing potions and potion like numbers a while ago, but potions weren't ever the problem in terms of like economy. because nobody was making like crazy amounts of potions and selling them for crazy amounts of money either. It was really
Well,
alchemical.
that got curbed really quickly. That's why.
Well, potions
There
still
was
weren't
a
the problem. It
huge
was
worry
the
about that
alchemical items.
initially. I mean, Templar, you and
So
what's his name
with the
kind of cooked
potions
up something
thing,
stupid with that. No,
I mean, even the potions though, the cost of downtime days to get all the reagents, and then the
yeah,
amount
it
of
took
gold
them
people were
about
making with
like
potions is
60
not.
downtime days to like get it set up, but then I believe he was going to make like 1,000 something plus potions in like the next 20 downtime day. Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but like if like
And
that
that was back
compared to
when
the
math
amount of time that
crafting
it
existed and all
Yeah,
that.
but
And
that's
that's what
still
the
like.
initial potion thing. And potions still have a scare tactic with people right now, especially with the comp. That's all.
Yeah, but that's still like 80 downtime days worth of investment. It's
Yeah,
not
but
that
what we're
unreasonable.
talking about is basically on a per like how much gold towards the entire activity. So like getting everything together, making the
I
item,
agree.
selling the item. Yeah, but potions never were at that level. The problem was alchemical items, which never got touched. So like
Yeah.
as an example, it'd take me like 8 hours to make some holy water, right? And I'd sell that sucker for a crap ton of gold, or I make like
Oh no, I did that with
burning
Meg
torches and
towards
stuff
the
like
end.
that.
It was
Yeah.
the ghost touch weapon launches. Those things are like
Yeah.
ridiculous returns.
So like there's like some things like that, but the people who can make those things right now aren't, and I'm pretty sure that's just out of more or less respect for the system, but they still like exist as something like if somebody wants to abuse it,
Yeah.
they can.
All right.
It's just the people who are cognizant of it right now just don't.
In that case,
Because I know a couple things I could do to abuse it, but I'm just like, it's too much effort.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think in this case, if someone wants to go ahead and take control of rehauling trade goods, and looking at a system for alchemical items and adjusting those prices to fit it, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, especially because it would also be helpful because a lot of these items are things like, hey, a player actually wants to purchase them to be prepared for a situation. In a lot of situations, these things have like they're good effects and they're helpful, but like for the price that you pay for them, it's kind of like, So that'd be pretty helpful overall.
I appreciate the help, Bribsy. I got you the tag. Another big thing that I think would be huge. This is more of data entry. It's not as fun. It's gonna be tedious and boring, and I understand people don't want to do it. Going through the equipment guide, and grabbing every single mundane item and putting it in the market document. It's data entry. The market document. So in the economy folder of the drive, there is a document called the market work in progress. This is where every single item is to be housed, as this will be allowing us to automatically adjust the. You should. It's just the adventure drive. But this is basically where we can just like say, oh, the market rate in our Logos is 400% for items of like specific metals, and then we'll automatically adjust everything of note.
I see.
That way, we can send this out to players. They can draw from a primary document's percentage values that we have access to that they don't, and then they can use this document to shop.
Got it.
So, just question for you, Nerp.
Yeah.
For the overhaul for trade goods, what specifically did you want out of that? Like, what's our end goal with that?
For trade goods specifically, I've done a lot of things in various different systems, like in 3.5 Pathfinder, even in Unbound and the like. They have always just been effectively a one-to-one currency in what I've done, because they're trade good. My biggest issue is trying to determine a good weight to wealth ratio, because they should weigh a lot. They should take up room in carts and stuff. But I know people here really want to do like a merchant game with them, and I'm open to ideas because they're more of like an afterthought in my prep. More of like they're just gold, obviously. That's the only one I worry about them. And I know people here have other plans. So if someone who wants to take over that and really focus up, yeah, have at it.
Part of me wants to have
In terms of gold, that well,
good.
I saw Templar flashing again, but I couldn't hear.
Oh, you
him.
can go ahead.
Okay. In terms of gold that players have, again, setting aside certain staff members, you kind of have a pretty wide range of like there are some players, specifically like certain crafters who are like sitting at like 10 to like I want to say like 13,000 gold. And then a bunch of other people who vary underneath that. And some of that is the result of kind of like a player economy, more or less.
Yeah.
Where some players make a good chunk of change from their missions, or multiple missions, and they give that money to the crafter. The crafter makes the thing, moves on, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, crafters typically have the most money because they're going on missions and they're getting commissions that they're spending their downtime days on, which isn't necessarily affected by the void market of downtime days necessarily, outside of maybe them buying like one or two materials. But now I think people are getting more than enough materials of like tier 3 to want to make items and things out of them.
Yeah.
So they have change to play around with, more or less. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I can't like really say that, because I think the way things are set up at the moment is that you can have that gold and you can spend it on like the void market to buy certain things, this and that, here and there. But the downtime days required to buy them typically ends up being the not barrier to entry, but the bottleneck for like a lot of players. I think even on the merchant side, where some of that is a lot of the more notable, well, not notable, but like merchant players who could buy it are also doing other things on top of it. I think Octo is a good example because Octo can buy a lot of things that a lot of people want in some of the shorter amount of times, but he's also a crafter, so he doesn't have time to go out and do those things. Seb Haas is a good example because that character buys things for like Arius and Raksha and all of them when they need it for those like specific times, but a lot of those times they also kind of just go out and get the materials themselves through like harvesting downtime days. So there's a good amount of gold to do a good amount of things in the economy, but it's being more so spent in the hands of players than on the market. The only reason Octo spends money in the market himself is because I've made Octo intentionally to be a hard to deal with and work with character, and so he kind of needs to operate on his own for the most part. Which,
Octo sucks.
Yeah, which that's the point. And that's why I like try to make money on him, but at the end of the day, that's not how the living world is currently operating for the most part. So I wouldn't say we're necessarily in a bad economic position right now, but how much of that is attributed to like the system working as intended, and how much of that is to players who can abuse and break the system just voluntarily choosing not to because why? I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I think in this case, there's definitely a lot to like look over, and it's.
We can do another data gathering thing where we kind of like reach out to players and go, "Hey, what's the most amount of money you've had I guess. And how much money do you currently have?
I think
That's a
I
loaded
think-
question.
I think
dude.
just currently my thought is kind of with Octo, like I have expertise in merchants tools. I have a ton of money. That's not gained from staff ticks. I think I've gained like 800 from staff ticks or something, and I have like 12k, 11k, something like that.
Damn.
Um,
Hell, you
and
were on
it's-
one of my missions.
yeah, and it's not so much about like, hey, I have all of this gold, or it's more, hey, at the moment all of the crafters like are all booked up from what I can surmise. Maybe I'm missing more people, and like actually just straight buying stuff is not feasible with the amount of days I would need.
I think one of the big things that will help this particular issue, which is something the economy department, when we kick off the market document, includes, would be the introduction of caravansaries. I think something that we could do to help this out potentially is have, I would say bi-weekly, so we have time to gather up the data just until the market document's done. Because once the document's done, this is all going to be automatically generated, and it's like a click of a button, then we just have it done. But until then, maybe have and get with RP events for this, a bi-weekly RP event where a merchant comes into town and you can just buy and sell things. You don't need to spend downtime days. It still has market rates and stuff, maybe more, maybe less, depending on what we're looking at. And we have that run through each region, so players have access to someone who can actually utilize those days, because that is a thing. Additionally, maybe we look at the downtime costs for shopping.
I don't love just like giving people free access to merchants. I think like just looking at shopping costs, and yeah, mostly looking at shopping costs is the main thing I was aiming at. And if we wanted to do some like gold sync event or something, like I think the kind of bizarre auction was a pretty good way of being a gold sync.
Yeah.
In that like, hey, here's some materials that like might be useful. You can bid on them, and it's a gold
Well,
sync.
That is
I
actually
like
what
the idea of an auction, but I do like more so the idea of like a traveling merchant
yes.
aspect.
So that's
Something that like
actually
the players
what.
can like know a traveling stock is going from place to place, and say even if players sell something to them, that now becomes a new item that somebody else can buy in another
Exactly.
location as this thing like moves around.
So that is exactly what a caravanserai is about. It is a merchant who has a predefined selection of items, which are randomly generated, which is why the market's so important, because it's going to have the data tables I need to code that in, because I'm building a database for this, and that will generate the items. And then every time someone sells something to it, that adds to their database. Every time someone buys something from it, it takes from the database. And every like 2 weeks, or whenever someone has a caravanserai and it's an upkeep, because that's when the structure produces a merchant, we have that merchant tied with some items, and it would be
You
a
always just
click
make
of a
it
button.
like you always make it like an increased time before each merchant shows up, so 1 or 2 months. So it's not a every other week thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being more than just every other week. I just figured a baseline that wouldn't be too bad. But that is the idea: is a traveling merchant who their stock of supplies is finite. It is not unlimited like the downtime options are. And every time that they buy something, they add to their list. And every time they sell something, they remove from their list.
So, in that, there's a little bit of nuance that I think would be interesting. Is that currently there aren't any merchant factions within Syrik. I don't know if
Nothing
that's
public.
intentional or not, in so far.
Yeah, nothing
Uh,
public. They're all like
Yeah.
locked away. But yeah,
By the way,
I don't know if maybe this would be a potential to have something that is represented by one of those or in such. I don't know if there's a potential for that to be a thing, but like maybe a more centralized group of people that are part of these traveling merchants, you know, like their stock isn't necessarily always like just static what the one gets from one area and brings it directly to the next area kind of thing,
Yeah.
but like some of it gets sent home, some of it gets redistributed, like there's a bit of some dice rolling in the background
Mhm.
if that wants to get handled uh as part of like the hey, this is the new town time days are dropped. Merchants are now shifting. Their stocks have changed, and then somebody changes like what was in their stock gets brought back to the main group to
Mhm.
be redistributed. What gets redistributed kind of gets shifted out. Like each merchant kind of changes their stock depending on where they go, and like somebody populates that. Like there's just a Google Doc that kind of keeps track of it and stuff.
Mhm.
speaking
Uh,
of that, uh, I know Arthur spent prestige to do create a player faction, and that was basically what like we as a group, like everyone that was talking about it, that would be like a major faction. The part of the faction would be like a roving caravan.
Okay. That will definitely have some selections they can choose in the factions crafting system I'm working on, as it does have specializations such as like, are you a merchant faction? Are you a thief faction? Are you assassin faction? Etc. So that'll be helpful for them, and they'll be able to really like fine tune the fact that they are a roving trader. Um, yeah, yeah.
it's a very
If we
cool idea. I
are,
definitely think it could have purpose, especially because like right now we have like the free travel downtime day to help like facilitate RP and people like willing to move between regions and stuff, which has met with some success, some failure.
yeah,
But adding in some kind of like alternative option for mercantilism wouldn't be an awful choice.
oh yeah, definitely. I think if we're wanting to have a guild, Eldiria does have Glimmer. That's a pretty big capital. We'd want to make sure Legacy and whatnot they're on board with adding that in um, as a major trading guild. Alternatively, what we could do is have it be from an outside source. There is a kingdom in Daravonia that is all about money. They're all about trade. They're all about merchants. That would also be a very good option. Alternatively, there's one in the Miro Imperium that could work pretty well.
Ooh.
Um, so if we want to start like introducing neighboring factions, neighboring countries and their factions as like
I
pop in, pop out, we could do that.
I think
Or go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's probably for the best, just in case any more like weird political stuff happens between the regions. And that way,
It
you know,
avoids that. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking for
Yeah.
avoiding local. It's like Glimmer
I'm
could
giving
definitely
that
work.
for Yokugan.
I'm also
Yokugan
working
merchants could
on
be
the-
really
I
good
do
too.
definitely like the idea of third party that like they have their fingers in each of the major trade cities within the current regions. That way they kind of like each facilitate their own thing and they
Yeah.
know what the local populace kind of wants, and therefore they populate that a little bit. And that's again like the moving of goods back and forth between the different merchants that kind of get things and move things.
Mhm. Yeah, and if we have like a merchant NPC for each of these factions, they can then travel between the different regions, and they could then hire guards to travel for them. If we wanted to go like RP events, wanted to like really hone in on to like the guard civilian option, they could focus on that and let that run. Um, but I do think outside traders that are roving between the different regions would be pretty helpful.
I'm
One
also
of
working on the Sultanate still for that, so I can also introduce stuff for that.
Oh yeah, the Sultanate would be a pretty good option too for like roving traders. So Yokogan, Daravonia, Sultanate, those three are pretty good ones that could cover roving traders in Hakuda. Um, an
Is
alternative
there a
option.
group that kind of has their fingers in all of these pies? Like a big merchant? Like, obviously, if it's big spoiler, then that's fine. You
The
don't-
Confederacy.
of course.
Yeah,
You said that with a certain.
yeah. I was actually what I was going to say. Alternatively, we can grab the Confederacy, but that does bring some other things that people might not want to deal with at the moment. A potential black
Give me
market
that
gun
airship.
dealers who would then probably have assassins sent their way.
Squints at some
I mean-
Kismet games? Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That's more flavor to the world, so it
Yeah.
works.
But they are wanting to kind of like, as a nation, obviously expand and colonize. So them going out and be like, hey, look what we have. Wanna join our empire? No? Okay, here's our guns.
Yeah, that fun fact, that's
Give me
the
an
next
airship.
idea I have.
About it. I mean, it makes the world feel alive till someone goes, "Why am I being hunted down for having this gun?" And then we have to deal with the consequence of that.
Yeah. So my big thing with Confederacy is right now it's much easier to just have major elements of those firearms be unused because the Confederacy is so focused on the wars with the Golden Marches and the continent of Shabos. So they're not really focused on someone really fucks up. Which is why I like the guns from Kismet and whatnot. I'm like, they're not sending anything yet. But if we do introduce them as a major merchant player, that would bring in that question of someone's going to show up and someone will be like, hey, I got some black market guns. You want to buy them?
Hmm.
And then, we might have some storylines with that.
That aside, I mean, if you cut out the on the economy front, if you cut out the inappropriately priced items
Mm-hmm.
for how much you can make, per downtime day, like what's everybody kind of generally feel like the economy is like right now? Because me personally, I don't think it's in the worst spot. Just because I don't see people buying a million things and out parsing or outstripping any other player. I don't, see anyone sitting on, this horde of like items or other things that is uniquely standoutish.
Yeah.
Apart from, Catherine's gold, but that is purely from just running a crap ton of games and getting
that's
over it.
No,
from spinning
Zeno.
ticks, and
Yeah.
that's from only taking money because there has not been a single person that has offered me an item that I want.
Yeah. So
It's just pretending to be a thing. She's actually a dragon.
like apart from that, we're like in a position where people who are desperate enough can spend downtime days to get like I think artifice reagents are like the rare ones are the most coveted for like the particular oils, and if
Yeah,
not,
especially
somebody
from our
can get them.
Logus.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, the day someone offers me something that I deem worthwhile, I will spend 40 grand on it.
I don't doubt it.
And like you can't buy tier 4 reagents right now, which is kind of nice. So like they're particularly interested and coveted, overall. And they're very useful for like enchantments for the people who can do it and all that other
People
stuff.
want that.
I still
Yeah.
don't hate the idea of not being able to buy tier 4 yet.
Yeah, tier 4
don't
are definitely
really
something that would be, which is why I want it tied to structures, is that it would be something that would be randomly rolled in a caravansary and it's a limited stock.
Yeah.
So
I
Just-
mean, I also like the idea that Ned had way back when. You had to carouse for harvesting locations for
Yeah.
tier 4 and up.
That is also
Well,
something I
so
like
that,
as well.
that had a whole litany of things to it, but the carousing had nothing to do with actually buying. Buying was almost unaffected by
Yeah.
the idea of the tier 4 rules that they introduced,
You
which
were-
was one of my big gripes with it.
Yeah.
I think their ideas for how to harvest them was really cool and well thought out. I think it needed a little bit of work, but I think all in all, that was a very solid idea.
Oh, yeah.
For, like feeling
Agreed.
like you have to put in a lot of effort to get a lot of good.
It wasn't even a lot of good though, if I remember correctly.
It was scaling good. You had to hit a certain period, and you had to get so many people to help you.
Yeah.
I
You're gonna say something, Red Heron?
let's see. I was gonna say, as far as the suggestion, I felt like it was a little overcomplicated. I feel like, nah, I guess that's not what I really want to get into. So as far as tier 4 materials, I know there's a little apprehension about whether we should be doing that now or not. For reference, I talked a little bit to Derp about this, and like we will eventually be making tier 6 materials. So
Mhm.
at the moment, like I don't think it's that big of a problem if tier 4 materials are able to be bought like if you have, I don't know, like expertise in merchant tools or whatever, or you spend a lot of downtime days towards it. I think there's enough. We have enough runway here where we can space out the tiers such that it makes sense.
Yeah. Once the equipment guide update comes out, there will be definitely looked at of is tier 4 something that needs to be locked behind.
Yeah. Other aspects of why I think we're in a good spot, like economy-wise, right now, is that I think some of the most expensive things people have are just like their magic items. They
Mhm.
don't have like huge amounts of like really expensive materials that they can sell for like tens of thousands of gold. But there is an extreme barrier to selling like magic items of like certain capabilities. That's
Yeah.
just not feasible, and nobody wants to sell any of their magic items as far as I've seen, really.
Mhm.
Apart from that, with some of the surplus of gold that players do have, that kind of puts us in a decent position where, like, when structures and hirelings and stuff do go out, people are like, oh, I have money to invest and do things and with this, and then that kind of like brings it down and tapers it off. But then we also get runway to see whether or not they go back above the heights that they had before because they have those structures, or if those just end up being, drains on individual player wealth,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just stops them from going like, I have nothing to spend my money on. I've got
Mhm.
a million. I'm a dragon.
Yeah. I do feel like structures, especially, is going to really help with that gold sink issue that we are currently lacking a little bit.
I mean, do we have outside of like structures and specific like building up the idea of like a town or a building or a grouping of buildings? Is there another gold sink that is
Factions will be a
works?
gold sink of for
Which one?
factions.
Factions.
Yeah, especially custom ones, like player made ones,
Okay.
because those will be required to, there's a reason why factions, the majority of them have a upkeep cost.
Fair enough.
Because if you're,
So-
giving all of your players, all your faction mates, a magic item, you gotta afford that.
So
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there was one doc a good while back that was also the religion thing that was being worked on with the whole like kind of tithing into your faith and
Mhm.
getting certain boons into that, and that was kind of a gold sync esque thing that kind of gave a buff, a buy a buff system that some called it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if systems, if you've looked into that at all.
The one that I wrote.
Yes, like since we talked about it last.
I have not made any adjustments since then.
Okay.
No.
We probably want to look at that. Maybe everyone give it a little once over again, and we can discuss that one in more
It's
details next week.
If we're gonna drop a big gold sync, I think we should probably drop all of them that we have on the docket
Yes.
kind of simultaneously, ideally. That way players have like the full slew of, oh, I've saved up so much money. I have all of these options to buy into.
Well, I hesitate to say that because as like you introduce multiple things, any problems that do arise from one thing being introduced over another, then it gets compounded. It gets hard to focus on those things, and
That's fair. Maybe a couple weeks between these drops. So we have time to look over the data.
it also
At
gives
least
players the time
knowledge
to
of
process
them
and
existing.
digest.
At least knowledge of them existing as potential gold sinks would be the suggestion that I'm trying to get to. Is just that like so players don't feel like they're like, ooh, I should buy into structures, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, I'm a deity based character. I should have actually bought into faith, but that came out, 2 months later.
Yeah. I am getting very limited on time because I decided to go over because I slept in.
Yeah.
But just kind of touch on a few things aside from this, real quick though. Very good stuff. Very healthy progress. That said though, for Herald, I think it's good to go. If Red Heron says it's good to go, we can slap it in the hot fix patch.
Yeah, I think there's been like one concern that's been raised about it about banner range, but I think it should be okay to put out.
Yeah, I mean, with any of those concerns, if it's like an immediately we need to change this, let's hot fix or real fix, change it real quick, and then hot drop it. If it's just like I could see an issue, then let's put it out there, and if it is an issue, we will then hot fix it in the time. Because we need to test it. There's only so much you can do theory crafting without live play testing.
What was this?
I know.
I kind of zoned out.
I know you've been playing with Live Herald, Brimsy. Are you okay with it? Are you happy with the state that it is in currently? Are you okay with it dropping?
No, I'm not happy with the state it is currently. I think that numerically most of it is okay, but I do think that the rally point right now is gigantic. I have seen it encompass the entire party in multiple situations, even against fighting like huge sized creatures. It's just there's no relative thought put behind it.
Didn't we surround a gargantuan creature?
Yeah, basically.
Wasn't that our last fight?
So then
the
let's
smaller rally point still required you to think through what you were doing. I do think that reducing that size would make it.
How much of a reduction would you want?
What was it originally at its size?
I think it was like
10
15
feet, I believe.
10 feet, something like that.
Whatever it was originally would make that totally fine.
Okay.
It just lets you not be able to control the entire party at the same time
Yeah.
without at least setting up.
Then
So,
let's change that real quick and then drop that in a hotfix.
Slight tidbit about that. Would things that increase aura size, like I think it's inspiring 3, the quality benefit I'm thinking of, that gives it a plus 5-foot range, would that affect that as technically a aura effect or no?
Rally point. It's weird because it's technically an aura, but it's also technically not an aura because auras are something that's
Right?
suffused from a person, but it is not suffused from a person. It is from a banner, a rally point.
Just mostly if we want that to be an effect because it seems on brand.
It does
what
seem on
Valve's
brand.
Doing.
I would just say
don't know if it's
no.
in
I would
range
just
for
say
their
no because it's not originating from them.
But it could.
It does until they throw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
It's weird.
say
Once it's thrown out and on the ground, it's not on you, dude. That's an inanimate object. No.
Fair enough.
I think that would make it so people don't use it at range very often, though. So
That's what my worry would be as
yeah,
well. Because it already was the case where they never really threw it around because the range was so gigantic.
I think it getting a specific caveat for being like, hey, inspiring works with this would be awful.
I think
Just because
the
it's only
aura-
inspiring 3, so you have to have a masterwork thing that you're throwing, and it has to be the thing that they throw. Like it should be the inanimate object that they're throwing that has it, that then gets the bonus. You know what I mean?
looking at current Herald
what
and
you
the
got,
updated Herald, I'm just gonna look at this real quick. Looks like previously it is you could throw it within a space within 15 feet. It is now 60 feet throw range. But the radius was 10 feet, which is now base of 20 feet. So I can see bring the radius back down to 10 feet.
I would be okay with that. 10 or 15, I think, is suitable.
So the thrown range, I think, is fine. It being only thrown the old 15-foot value was really sad. And
Agreed.
did anyone have any trouble with the increased movement speed while in the area, or no?
Not particularly. It's potent and strong. It's a little awkward, but I think it's fine. For the most
came in
part, it was just the
useful,
other
but it was
bonus.
kind of niche. Yeah.
All right. And then the old upgrades for the radius was at 9th level it becomes 20 feet radius, 17th level becomes 30 feet radius. Do we want to keep those?
That I didn't get to play with yet, so I don't know.
It's been hot dropped a lot. These are the old values we're reverting it to, so I don't think we need to play test it.
Then the old values would be probably fine.
Okay. In that case, I have updated the Herald 1.1 suggestion thing. The rally point now has the old radius values.
I think the only remaining weirdness in Herald is just what we're doing with spell slots, which is another discussion we've been having.
Now, see here, that is the Guardian? No, Champion?
Crusader?
Yeah, I believe it's the Crusader. Crusader's the like pseudo cleric one. The one that it's the first one that you dropped what you thought 1/3 and 1/2 casters should get for spell slots. And that's kind of what brought it to point, and then it kind of got forgotten for a while. And then it came back up with the new full spellcaster list that you dropped.
Have the Champion class, a subclass for Herald. It's got levels 1st through 5th, all the way down to 4, 4, 3, 2, 1 for spell slots at 20th level. This one we're talking about?
Yeah, but it gets 5th level at level 9, right?
Yeah, they're very front-loaded levels.
Yeah, level 9 is when they get 5th level.
Yeah.
So would a half caster be effectively the same as a full caster until level 9? Like
This is a third class. This is technically a third caster.
Is it?
This one is, yeah.
yeah,
It's
'cause
it's the same as like an Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
I could
so-
see an option here would be making it so third casters utilize the progression of half casters in terms of like spell slot gain accrual, and then half casters utilize my suggestion here where they get the same progression, just lower spell slots. I can also see a
fully
different, but that's
launch
what I want.
Herald right now. We give them Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster levels just for right now.
Okay.
And then we finish up the conversation about what we want spell slots to be.
Cool. I'll update it real quick on the site, and then
Yeah,
That's my 2 cents.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
think
just update the page, grabbing the where's Eldritch Knight? Oh, flip 'em on. Old, new version of fighters. The old fighter version, so I can look at their Eldritch Knight stuff.
So I think everyone forgot that we call it Arcane Knight now.
Yeah, potato. Why am I not signed? I'm not signed in. Okay, that explains things. Like, why am I not seeing the Eldritch Knight and Arcane Knight or whatever? Alright, go, Eldritch Knight. Let's see, spell slots of Alright, once I drop these, I'll let you guys know, and then if someone on the World Anvil team wants to go and transfer these to the, or we're wanting to keep the old version too, so maybe make a copy of the old version, call it Herald Unchained, hide the old version, and then transfer this content from Herald 1.1 to Herald Unchained. Let's see here. Champion. Here we go. Spellcasting. Spells known. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why does that look so weird? Did this break? Am I insane? I'm very confused by these numbers. I'm looking at like Herald's 12th level and saying 5, 8, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. I understand now. Okay. Never mind. I remember. I know. We're doing things. We're cooking with magic. Okay, so skip the first 3 numbers. Everything beyond that is accurate. Okay. I understand now.
We got the superiority stuff. No, I mean,
Alright. Oh wow, Eldritch Knights actually get more first level spell slots than I gave them. Than I gave Herald.
Also, they can cast shield.
To be clear, isn't it that we don't have the Herald updates released for general use yet? The 1.1 version is being tested in one game, which Brib just gave us feedback from,
Yes.
so we can let them use these changes a bit and make sure it's okay and then let people update properly, right? Or did I misunderstand the
We
update stuff that got
are
posted?
hotfixing Herald based on the feedback from testing games, and we are dropping it live.
Yep.
And this is 4th level, which is...
So there was a lot of economy things that you referenced. There was the data gathering for the big market chief. The overhaul of trade goods and being like, hey, if anybody wants to pick this up or has an idea, then like make something. The Herald changes that we're doing. Was there anything else that like work-wise you wanted people to kind of focus on?
Work-wise, there's a good number of bits. Fuck, I have 3 minutes. Where was it? I know there's a lot of like class stuff that are happening right now, so that all that class updates still happening that I want covered. Red Herons, you're leading the charge on getting people organized with that, so that's appreciated. I think something that we need to discuss in terms of regional stuff would be the overarching plot and whatnot. But that's going to require a regional meeting, which I know everyone's available for that on Mondays, so we can get that covered next Monday. Mine's blanking on things that need to happen. There's too much stuff. I know there's something. My mind's blank. So just I will post it in chat when I remember.
Okay, so we're dropping it, okay.
Yeah. All
Sure
right.
to back up the current version, please, but we already have a page with the changes.
Yes.
Also, Nerp, you got time this week to go over Discord opening prep and New Wave or not?
I do not have time until potentially Monday. I might have a little bit of time Saturday, but that is very much iffy. Also, I said I would be
Next
available
Monday
for
or
Saturday
Wednesday,
for someone
I think
else.
better than no worries.
Yeah. So, Saturday might be limited to Templar, based on if they're available for Saturday, if it is open. Otherwise, Monday's the earliest. I'm a banana, and I don't have time anymore. If someone wants to go through the Herald version 1.1 and update the spell slot list,
for letting me know.
That'd be excellent. Because I don't have time
If you're
to edit
good
it.
for Monday regional, just drop a ping and we can update.
Yeah,
Take care.
Will do. That is literally all the time I have because I got to go and play and then stream a game. So I will be dropping here. Appreciate everyone's help, everyone showing up, all that good stuff, and dropping the recording here. Blah, blah, blah.